I always do this as my start pose. Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am filming a primary school teaching placement Q&A. Anytime I do any videos to do a placement, they always do well. People always seem to have loads of questions, so I decided to just put up a question box on my Instagram and answer all the questions that I got right in this YouTube video, so that in future I can send people over to it. I've done a few Q&As on my Instagram stories, but it's just hard to save them and that, so I just wanted one that'd be a bit permanent. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking all things primary school teaching placement, from first to, obviously I'm only in third year so I can only speak up until then. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm in third year in primary school teaching in Marino Institute of Education. So in Marino you do 3-week placements. So in first year you do a 3-week placement from 2nd to 4th class, one of those classes. In second year you do a 3-week 5th or 6th class placement and a special ed placement. And then in third year you do a 3-week junior or senior infant placement. And then in fourth year you do a 10-week placement in a class of your choice, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, that's the rundown of a placement in Marino. I assume most people watching this are going to be primary school teachers anyway, so you know what placement is, you know the gist of it. You get 2 inspections from an inspector, and they come in randomly 2 times over the 3 weeks, and they assess your planning and preparation and then your teaching, how you actually taught the lessons. So I'm not going to really dwell on the behind the scenes of placements, and I'm just going to get right into answering all the questions you have. One of the main questions I got asked was, where do I get my clothes replacement, what do I wear to placement, all that. So I think I'm going to do a separate YouTube video on that. I do a bit on that over on my TikTok, so if you aren't already following my TikTok and my Instagram, check that out, because I'm going to be doing hauls of clothes I buy for placement and that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm not going to focus on the clothes in this YouTube video. I'm going to make another one about that because a lot of people had questions about that. Okay, first question says, how do you keep on top of the planning? Do you do it the night before? So for placement, a lot of it can be done in advance. So once you know your themes and topics from your teacher, you can get started on your schemes, which you don't do in first year, but you can get started on your schemes and have them really good and pretty much finished. You can do all the lesson plans for, say, art, music, PE, all those kind of ones. The only ones you have to do the lesson plans for the night before is maths, English and Irish, because obviously you don't know how much the kids are going to get through that day, how quickly they're going to grasp a topic. You can literally only do them the night before. Everything else like PE, SCSE, I would have planned before I even start my placement most of the time, because you know what you're going to do in 3 weeks time in art. It's not as if the kids are going to be slow or fast at grasping onto it. So yeah, the only thing I'd be doing the night before would be the English, Irish and maths lesson plans for that next day. Next one says, your go-to resources that are needed for any class level. For me, my go-to resources for any class level would probably be my author's chair. I love my author's chair. I think kids really like it. I love my writer's toolbox. I think they really enjoy that on placement. I also like when I have like some sort of a checklist with everyone's names on it in the class, and then they get to tick off how far along in their writing they are. Yeah, I think they're kind of my main ones. For any class, it's hard to say for any class. They were my ones for like the kind of more senior classes, but I'll keep going with resources anyway. Someone said, any tips for first years? My tips for first years going out in their first teaching practice would be to plan the subjects that you can plan. Everything except English, Irish and maths, have them planned so you don't have to stress about them. Have your resources made. It will just make life so much easier for you on placement. I would say just be yourself. Be yourself from the moment you go in on placement. You know, don't be too nervous. You know, just kind of, I know it's easier said than done, but like just kind of be confident in what you've learned and just be yourself. Be as helpful as you can to the class teacher. And in first year teaching practice, don't try and make friends with the kids. Like, you literally still feel like a child yourself when you go out. Like, I think I was like 18 going out my first teaching practice. You need to kind of be careful that you don't become too familiar with them, because they might take you seriously then. Like, obviously still be kind and nice, but you just can't be their friend, if you get me. Like, don't be going in trying to be their buddy. Next question says, confidence tips. So confidence tips on first teaching practice is so huge, but my one would just be, if the inspector comes in, he or she is looking to give you marks. So go in there, show them what you know, show them how good of a teacher you be. Most of you will have wanted to be a teacher your whole life, so just do what you're good at. You know, make the kids happy, make sure everyone's happy, follow your lesson plan, and just trying to kind of believe in yourself. You know, if you believe in yourself and give off that false sense of confidence, then the kids will trust you and the inspector will trust you. It all comes from within. If you go in real jittery and real nervous, the kids are just going to feed off that and not treat you with as much respect. And it's same with the inspector. But if you go in there confident in what you know, then you can't go wrong. The next one says, how do you prepare your lessons effectively and not get stuck for ideas? For not getting stuck for ideas, I just use like lecture notes, ideas that the lecturers have given us in lectures. Twinkle is brilliant, and the class teacher will usually give you a Twinkle account if you don't already have one, which I don't. Pinterest is great, and I kind of just like brainstorm what I want the kids to do in the lesson, and then I'll write my lesson plan, because I think if you try and like think about it as you write your lesson plan, it'll just get confusing, whereas if you plan it out on a rough piece of paper in a brainstorm and then write it on your lesson plan, you will be flying, you won't run out of ideas. Next one says, do you fit in self-care during the week or stop working at a certain time of the day? So in first year placement, I hadn't got this grasp, like I was up till midnight creating resources. I was just stressed to bits. Whereas now I try and have, as I said, all my lesson plans, all my schemes, all my resources done, made before placement even starts. And then the night before, all you have to do is do your English, Irish and Maths lesson plans. And I would usually try and be wrapping up by about 8 o'clock at night, because if not, you'll just be wrecked. And then do I fit in self-care? It's easier said than done. Like I would say try and take the Sunday off, but like realistically on the weekends you're going to be planning for the next week. Like yeah, to an extent, but I just say don't be up till 12 making resources. Like try and do yourself a favour and have them made. Someone else said, do you think placement will go ahead in April? Love your content. Thank you so much. Yes. So the schools are meant to go back March 1st is what I hear, and my placement got moved from the start of March to the 12th of April. So yeah, I think April placements will 100% go ahead in my opinion. I can't see them not, and I think they will be in person, not online. Any tips for your first placement and you have first, second and third class? My tips would be try and find out what they're into. When I went into my fourth class placement in first year, I did like a whole Roald Dahl kind of theme thing. So I did Matilda and George's Marvelous Medicine. They made their own potions, had all my posters were to do with those two books. So just kind of like run with a theme. The kids will be so interested if you like have fancy pencils for them to write with, or sparkly pencils, like little rubbers. I saw a thing on TikTok that was like desk pets, and I thought it was so cute. She gave the kids little rubbers. I think that'd be a really nice thing, and they were their little desk pets for the week. Just try and be fun, do interactive activities and things you think the kids will enjoy. Next person said useful resources for the middle classes. For the middle classes, I think the most useful resources will be, well, for English, that author's chair is brilliant in middle classes, and your checklist, your planning checklist. I really like the writer's toolbox, and then at the end of the placement I gave them all the stuff from it, all the pencils, all the rubbers. They could take one each home. Love anything like that, anything fun or anything that they get to keep. They love that. Stickers. I love stickers in the middle classes. I think they work great. That's just my teaching style though. I love stickers. This person said tips for teaching Irish. Irish in first year placement is so hard. Like it's just hard to get your head around. My biggest thing would be Ferrari. So like use real materials. Like if you're teaching clothes, have a bag of clothes. If you're teaching food, have plastic food. It's the best way. Posters just don't do it justice. My other thing would be like, don't spend your whole time making posters for Irish for like Claire Kim and all those kind of things. Make PowerPoints and connect up your laptop, because it just saves you so much printing, and they're bigger and you can move them around. So definitely loads of imagery, loads of visuals, and then loads of real objects and songs and poems and action songs. They're your best friend in Irish. I wish you knew before your first placement. Before my first placement, I wish I knew how much I was going to learn from the class teacher. The class teacher I had for my first year placement, she literally has like kind of inspired my teaching style. Like I love her teaching style, and I learned so much from her. So just learn from the class teacher. I also wish I knew how little I knew. Like I look back at my first year lesson plans and I'm not half the teacher than I am now. So like you're so early in the game, like don't stress. Be as helpful as you can, and yeah, I wish I knew how much I was going to learn from the class teacher and how little I actually knew at the time. What sort of things do you need to bring with you, like extra bits, if you get me? Yeah, so I always bring a handbag and then a tote bag with all my resources for that day. This is obviously pre-COVID. I don't even know how it's going to work with COVID, but I'll come to that bridge when I come to it. But obviously now, I really recommend having a notebook and a folder with your lesson plans printed off. So obviously you're going to have your placement folders, but I recommend just having your own scribbled down versions of the lesson plans so that you can have them there as a guide in a notebook. Then obviously you need your lunch, your like hand gel, your mask. I would always have stickers, And I think that's pretty much it. Someone said, do your lesson plans have to be in extreme detail for all lessons? So in first year, your lesson plans are all you have, so you don't have schemes. So your lesson plans have to be really detailed in first year. But from second year onwards, you're doing schemes, so they're like broad overviews. So your lesson plans can be like a bridge, they can be shorter. For the start, I would make your lesson plans as detailed as you can, and then write out your own rough lesson plan on a piece of paper so that you have it for your own head, but then obviously you have to have the real lesson plan in case the inspector comes in. A lot of people ask where to get the best resources such as stickers and stuff. So I get my resources mainly in Mr. Price, Deals, the Euro Shop, The Range, and I think that's pretty much it, and then Amazon. They would be my main places, and they're all open still because of COVID. So did you buy your own resources in first year for going on to placement? So I bought all my own posters, I buy all my own teddies, I buy all my own stickers, I buy all my own bits like that. But anything like that you need for like maths, like your Dean's blocks, your clocks, anything like that, the school will have them. But I also see it as an investment. Like if I'm buying a book or a teddy, I know I'm gonna have that for years. Or if I make an author's chair or I make a writer's toolbox, I don't have to give that to the teacher, like that's mine. So I just recommend making it all so that you have it, you know, little by little, rather than wait until you get your own class and then having to make everything. I like this question, what to do when you first arrive on placement. So I always arrive nice and early on my first day of placement. So say if the school starts at 9, I would definitely be in there by kind of 20 past, half 8 at the latest. I would go in, you meet the principal, you'll probably be introduced by the secretary, shown where your classroom is, you'll sit down, set up your bits. You'll have done observation days though, so you'll know the teacher and that kind of thing. I would just be overly friendly with the teacher, with all the staff, introduce yourself in the staff room, be nice and confident. And yeah, that would be my main things. Someone asked, do you find your own placement or do the colleges help you? So in Marino, in first year, you find your own placement. In second year, you find your own placement for special ed and for mainstream. But in third year, they place you. So they placed me in third year, and then in fourth year, I'm actually not too sure. I think you pick your own one, but I'm actually not too sure. Someone asked how to deal with the workload. It can be so overwhelming. That is so fair. I would say stagger it out. Have as much prep as you can done before you actually start placement to give yourself the best chance. Use prep week wisely. Try not sweat the small stuff. Like if you're up at midnight making a resources, just be like, is that really necessary? You know what I mean? Like, be effective with your time. Don't go spending hours, you know, making one resource that's going to last 2 minutes. If it's something that's going to last you for the whole 3 weeks, make it. But if it's only going to last you for one lesson, don't break your back over it. Yeah, take breaks, stagger your planning, stagger your time, plan it out effectively. And yeah, just don't let yourself get overwhelmed with the work. Do it in stages. Tips for observation. My tips for observation would be to observe as well as you can. So notice the children who struggle, notice the ones who are weaker in different subject areas, notice the ones who are flying on ahead and have the work finished 10 times quicker than everyone else. Notice the classroom dynamic. What sort of behavioural strategies does the teacher have in the classroom? Notice the teacher's teaching style. See how much they know, previous related knowledge, how long does it take them to complete a task, write everything down, talk to the teacher about different things like that, question the teacher, and just be friendly, you know, get to know the kids' names, chat to them. Don't just be sitting down there silent because they'll just be like, what is this one doing? Be friendly, be helpful, help the teacher give out resources, all that kind of thing. Okay, someone said, what resources are a must that can be made or bought before going out? It depends on what class you're in, honestly. Like I know for junior infants I have teddies, stickers all stacked up. I really recommend making lollipop sticks with their name on it if the teacher doesn't have them, because it's just easy to pick out their name then from a hat and shows that you're kind of being mindful of who you're picking every time. On placement in May and a bit nervous, do you have to have a folder with all your lesson plans? Don't be nervous, you're going to be amazing. Do you have to have a folder? It just depends on your college. In Marino you have to have a really detailed placement folder and a really detailed resource folder, but just check your college requirements, email your lecturers, they'll let you know. On first placement, how to keep a control of the class. I would say just start as you mean to go on, so act the way you want the kids to have respect for you from the very start. Don't go in overly friendly, like don't go in overly strict, but you can't make yourself more strict, you can only be more friendly. So just start out strong, and then have a few like clapping games to get their attention so you're not screaming their names all the time, and just see what kind of behavioural strategies the teacher has in place on observation and then run with them. Someone said how to build up confidence for placement. Don't feel prepared at all. You are prepared. Like if you do all your planning, all your prep, you're 100% prepared. Your first placement is so scary, and honestly at the start we were all dreading it, and by the end of it you actually end up loving placement. As stressful as it is, it's what you're there to do. You're going to be amazing teacher. Like, you need to just go in there, be yourself. The kids are dying to get a break from their own class teachers, so they'll love you. So just, yeah, be yourself and have your planning done in advance and just believe in yourself. A lot of people ask them for multi-grade lesson plan tips. I've actually never taught multi-grade, so I can't really give any help. Best first class resources. I would say first classes love stories, teddies, stickers. You forget how young they actually are. Someone asked me I need a fiction picture book for either first or second or third or fourth. Any recommendations? George's Marvelous Medicine or Matilda or anything Roald Dahl. They have gorgeous, he has gorgeous picture books that are really nice. Okay, someone asked for book recommendations for junior infants. A lot of you have seen it on my Instagram, but I got While We Can't Hug on Amazon for my junior infant placement. I just love it. I think it's the cutest book ever. So this I think as well. And then for junior infants, like, just get yourself loads of teddies and loads of puppets and stickers and they'll love you. Classroom management ideas. So you're gonna have to base it off what the teacher already does themselves. But like marble jars, my 5th class placement that I never got to do, I was gonna do a hot chocolate party. So at the start of my placement, the kids would earn maybe like the cup, and then they'd earn the hot chocolate powder, and then they'd earn the milk, and then they'd earn the marshmallows, and then a little treat, and then a movie. And then on the last day of my placement, I was gonna reward them with a hot chocolate party. So something like that would be cute. Tips for first years on how to introduce themselves to a new class. Go around the classroom and find out a little bit about them. So find out their name, maybe their favourite animal, or what they like to do after school. Get to know them and then tell them a little bit about yourself. Placement teaching essentials, things you couldn't survive on placement without. Oh, I couldn't survive without my stickers. I couldn't survive without my USB for my PowerPoints. I couldn't survive without posters, A3 card posters and a printer. And I couldn't survive without my author's chair. It's probably a bit dramatic, but I actually couldn't. Okay, someone asked me what placement class do you have? Is it near where you live? So the placement class I have they placed me about 20 minutes from my house. Basically, long story short, my friend is from the country and she's moving up to Dublin for this placement, so she has to move up with me. So they placed us in the same schools. That's why I got placed 20 minutes away from my house, because she's a car and she can drive us. Someone asked what laptop would be the best for the primary teaching course. Me and a lot of the girls for the last 3 years have had just a regular HP one for they're about €400 I think. That one has lasted me 3 years. It's done me very well. I also have a Mac desktop, so I was kind of lucky to have that for assignments and that. But I am thinking of investing in a MacBook Pro, like, which is obviously the best, but you'll be grand with a HP if you don't want to spend MacBook Pro money. Okay, someone asked what transition activities do you like to do with junior or senior infants? So for transition activities, I think rhymes, poems, anything like that, a little song, a little actions game. I also love to do a little breathing, like 10-finger breathing. Themes for senior infants for this time of the year, there's so many. Like, you could do spring, animals, the farm, Easter, Paddy's Day, like Valentine's Day, Pancake Tuesday, like, you won't be stuck for themes in senior infants. Someone said how to feel confident speaking in front of a class, feel like they won't take me seriously. If you think they won't take you seriously, they won't take you seriously. You need to believe that you're a real teacher. Kids don't know whether you're 18 or whether you're 40, genuine. Like, kids will be asking you if you have kids and if you're married when you're only like a young one coming into the class. So they haven't a clue. They just think you're an adult, so they don't even see you as a college student. They probably won't even know you're in college, to be honest, especially the younger ones. So yeah, just remember that. Someone said, where do you start with each subject, your own idea or the curriculum? So what you do is the teacher will give you themes or topics, or you'll suggest themes or topics and you'll decide on them with the teacher, and then you'll go to the curriculum, see where they link up into the curriculum, plan out what you want the kids to achieve, and just plan your lessons day by day. Someone said, what's your go-to websites for ideas? My go-to websites are Twinkle and Pinterest, and then sometimes I'll look at teacher Instagrams. To be honest, sometimes teacher Instagrams stress me out. They make me feel like I'm not doing enough. Sometimes I don't really like to look at them. I prefer to just get my own ideas because, yeah. In advance, would you start planning? I'd usually start prepping for placement about as soon as my first observation day comes, really. That's when I'd start planning. So whenever your first observation day is. Someone said, is it normal to feel anxious for placement? My first placement's coming soon. I feel so nervous. 100%. Your first placement is so daunting. But once you get the first one over, you're honestly going to love placement by the end of it. Yeah, placement's a stressful time of the year, but it's also one of the most rewarding. You get to know a class, you get to do what you're meant to do. So yeah. Do you make up all your own lessons, or can you copy from books and examples? So you can copy from books, but obviously you just can't teach the kids from the books page by page. You have to just use what the book is using, maybe make it visual, maybe make it, you know, use their ideas and run with them, but make up your own as well. It's kind of a balance. Okay, someone asked how to plan in advance without knowing what you teach it. You can't plan if you don't know what topics you're teaching. The only thing you could do is make a few resources that would be general. But yeah, you can't plan until you know your topics. Okay, that is the end of my placement for primary school teaching Q&A. I really hope you enjoyed that. Thank you so much for all the questions. As I said, if you aren't already following me on Instagram and TikTok, my username is Molly_T_Nelson. Check it out. I got a lot of questions to make a video about placement outfit ideas and also about making a video about my folders, my placement folders. So I'd really love to do that. If you want to see that, give this video a thumbs up and just leave it in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram. And I will definitely do that for you. Let me know if you want any more Q&As on here, and thank you so much for watching my video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm gonna literally be making a lot of content over the next few months for my placement in junior infants in April, just because it's fun to bring you guys along with me, and I know it helps some people out. So yeah, I have a lovely midterm, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.